Easy here. Hi, guys and gals. Well, it stopped raining, so I'm coming out for a few minutes. It's just been non-stop, on and off, on, off, on, off. You couldn't kind of go anywhere really because it was always raining. It's 60 degrees Fahrenheit, around 16 or something like that. Today is it's the hottest moment of the day, and it's only, what is it, 16, like I said, something like that. So that's about 60, 61 Fahrenheit. Yeah. So it's nice to be out, though. And it's nice and cool. I like it, though. It could take a little bit warmer. We're always complaining, aren't we? But I don't know. People are talking about global warming all the time. But we've had just a normal summer, basically, here in Switzerland. Yes, I know all over the world there's been a lot of forest fires and a lot of tragedies. But for us over here, it's just been pretty much a normal summer. People always try and, find something special about it. But we've had a hot spell. We've had a lot of cold spells. We've had dry spells. We've had wet spells. So is that normal? If it's not normal, I'd like to know what is normal then. Anyway, well, so what? Yeah, so walking around. There was no barbecue today, though. Today's Sunday, so went to church in the morning, and I had a barbecue. Made a barbecue chicken yesterday. Had one of my sons and his partner over, and so we had a nice time together. Later on, actually, we did have the visit of the grandkids. They came faster home than I was expecting. They were in Spain for a while, but I had a little issue with their camping car, which I won't get into right now, but so they had to come home earlier. Let's see. It's not actually, I'm just going to show you. There is a small pumpkin there, but there's a second one over here. But that's it, Sometimes you get a whole bunch of these. This year, it's very strange, for the zucchinis and the pumpkins, there's not been much activity, so I guess that's all. What's here, though, is a fig tree. Let me see, I'll show you some of the figs. If you look, there's a few. Actually, it's not too bad. They're small, though. One thing I don't like about that particular fig tree, though, is that if you don't eat them like when they're ready, they go bad and mushy on you really quickly. Mrs. DC has a few flowers over there, but it's kind of like I was going to say a little bit of a wild garden, which she's keeping it purposely that way. This over here is going to be eventually, we call it the kids' garden, but they're still too young to be really interested in it. I won't open up, but there's tomatoes in there and stuff like that. So, but they'll get to it. I mean, they're right now, actually, the youngest, all he wants to do is pick berries, pick and eat berries. So we had to hide some berries that we had that were toxic. I think I mentioned that actually we think they're toxic. Anyway, one thing for sure, they're not made for human consumption. So we've put a kind of a white cloth on the plant just to be certain they doesn't go and touch it. But yeah, I'm getting my feet wet here. Yeah. No real vlog, as you can see, just walking around and chatting. I just wanted to get out and walk a little bit. Sometimes I go on the other side where there's the park and there's the pond over there, and I just basically walk around the pond. It's a small pond, but if I walk like an hour or something like that, I've done a good distance. Nevertheless, I'm just going in circles all around. It's always amusing when you do things like that, because people look at you. It's funny, isn't it, though? I mean, there's this old guy walking around, and you kind of wonder if they're thinking, who's the weirdo who's walking? I don't know. Anyway, it's people don't really like to see people doing things out of the ordinary. Yeah. I had chat. Was it? Let me see. When was that? It was the other day. Yeah, with a guy over at the church, and I didn't know that he. Well, he told me that he'd worked for many years. He's probably retired now, or a young retiree or whatever, and he'd worked like for 20 more years in the vegetable department, so one of the big supermarkets, and over time he's more or less learned how to speak English. Not great English, but he can communicate pretty well, and all because of clients and stuff like that. So we started talking English together. He asked me, he says, "Well, maybe I could speak English to him every now and then so he can practice." That was kind of amusing. So here we were speaking English, and then all of a sudden everybody was like looking at us, and they all stopped talking, and we said, "Well, what's going on?" And they said, "We didn't know that either of you could speak English." That was amusing because I told them, I said, when it gets to things like Bible reading or praying or whatever, if I'm on my own, it's all in English, and the books I read are like 99% English. So I would tell them, it's always in a way, even though I like I told you before, did my grade schooling and stuff like that in French, but the PhD and everything, all the materials in English. So I've been working in English and for years, and so it gets, after a while, that French is a language I use at home. So that's something that people don't always realize, when I'm out and talking with the others in French, is that it was my dad's mother tongue, and how can I say? I spoke it all my life, but it's not my favorite language. I prefer English by far, and when I have to communicate with pretty well everybody, I was going to say even Mrs. DC in French, although it's kind of amusing because Mrs. DC is very much into English shows or English movies and stuff like that, and so she with time I've realized, and she's told me as well, like she prefers to be in an English environment, which we are not. But if we go like to Ireland, we're both really much in our element there. That's actually one of the reasons people ask us, why don't we want to go back to Canada or Quebec in particular, where our families are. And it's sad to say, but for me at least, one of the reasons I don't really want to go back is the French element. Not that I don't like French people, but I just don't. I'm immersed in it here, yeah. But if I was over there, I'd be immersed in French and with that political situation. If you know the Quebec political situation, which I will not get into now, you will see that it's not always a simple one if you're an English-speaking person. Anyway, the Canadians who are watching this video, if you're this far, you'll know what I mean. Anyway, I'm up to 9 minutes, so I've been chatting long enough. So that'll be DC signing off. Take care, everybody. I hope you have a great Sunday. Bye-bye. And chat with you later on in the week. Bye.